Hey, what's up guys? Just out here in the workshop today, and I'm about to do a little maintenance on my favorite and first ever kitchen knife that I made probably a year and a half ago now. So just a little background with this knife, what I set out to design here. I'm a big cooking guy. I love to cook, and I do pretty much all the cooking for my household. It's just something I love to do. Cook every single day. This knife gets used every single day. I've gone through a lot of different kitchen knives, some beautiful sets, but I didn't find exactly what I want. I'm sure it's out there somewhere to buy, but what I noticed was that you have your big chef's knife, okay, your traditional chef's knife, handle, whatever, something like that. So you're going to have something like a 7+ inch blade here. And in my opinion, it's just really big and unwieldy on a cutting board. I don't like it. Then you move over to something that's a more suitable length, like a Sentoku, and you have something like that. It's a little bit exaggerated, but you have a Sentoku that's something like this. Then you have a paring knife, which is generally a little smaller, but you might have something like this, a paring knife. So come back with the handle. So what I don't like about this is that it's too large and unwieldy for the cutting board. I just don't enjoy using it. But I do a lot of chopping, so I love this portion here. What I like about both of these is that you also have enough clearance right here to be in on the cutting board, and your hand is not in the way. A paring knife, your hand has to be back off the cutting board in order to have room for your knuckles. But I like the shortness of these two knives. So out of all three, a Sentoku is probably closest to my favorite as is, but I don't like, or I like a little more sweep in my knife, and I don't like a super blunt tip because I also like a lot of slicing and piercing, and to be able to have a nice wieldy tip. Let's say if you're cutting a piece of pepper, red pepper, and you have like this little bit of white in here, I like to be able to take the tip and scoop that out, and this type of blade shape doesn't lend well to that either. So what I came up with was something, in my opinion, right in the middle of it all. So we have lots of depth, so you can see I can get right in on the cutting board. Oops, be careful there. I can get right in on the cutting board. I have that big deep belly here portion that the chef knife has for chopping. But I also have that fine tip, so I can get in and do some paring type work with this as well. I just really love this design. Now, one of the purposes of this video was to show you what O1 steel does when it's maintained properly. You guys know, or anyone that's ordered from me or been watching a while, know that I use O1 steel exclusively. I started out with a little bit of like 5160 spring steel, but now it's O1 exclusively. And some people are a little concerned about that in terms of maintenance or what it's going to do. This has been used in a kitchen environment, cutting mostly acidic type veggies for about a year and a half now. Gets washed after every single use, dried, placed back in a wooden block like this. And just look at this knife. There's no rust spots, there's no pitting. There's no rust at all. All you have is a lovely patina there, which is mostly formed by the acid from like onions, real strong onions, cutting a lot of jalapeno peppers and different types of peppers. The acid etches the knife, and that's one of the beauties, in my opinion, about using carbon steel. That natural patina, maybe you don't like it, but I just think it's beautiful. And this will only build and increase in years to come. It'll just get prettier and prettier as time goes on, and I love that. Like I said, this was a prototype. I know the grinds aren't the best on this one. I wouldn't send out a knife with grinds like that these days, but it of course doesn't hinder. And I do like, if I'm being honest for myself, I love this look. That kind of slightly rough look. I used a piece of birch for the scales, Newfoundland birch, and the material just keeps getting darker and darker. That brass, those brass pins are tarnishing. This is going to be an heirloom knife for me. I'll keep this probably for all my days and keep working it. Of course, a good piece, good slab of O1 steel like that, if taken care of properly, will last like that. You'll get decades out of it, and just keep getting better. Now, if you recall me saying, the whole reason I have the knife out here in the workshop today is to do some maintenance on it. It's just not quite a sharp. It hasn't been sharpened in any way. No steel rod, like no honing rod in the kitchen, no stropping, nothing for probably 6 months now, being used every day, and I'm just astounded by the edge performance. I do treat it well, of course, but still, that's a long time. But I'm gonna hone it. This is my brand new Shopton Glass 1000 here. Click the video on the top of the description there if you want to see my first video with these stones that I just released. But yeah, I'm going to give it a nice little working here today and get it back up performing like it should. So in case you didn't know, in the kitchen, a sharp knife is a safe knife. A real dull knife, you end up pushing harder than you should, and with slippery vegetables and things like that, your hand's there and you're pushing, trying to force through a big onion, which is a little bit unwieldy as it is. And with that force, creates unnecessary risk. A real sharp knife will just glide down through, no force. It's much safer. I hope that makes sense to you. And I'm just starting to notice that performance go away. It's just not sliding through veggies. I cut up a real large sweet onion there last night when I was making some pasta. It's the first time I noticed it just didn't have that snap in the edge like usual. Didn't just blow me away. So, time for a little tune-up. There's no need of that. When we have the stones and we have the skills to address the issue, just go ahead and do it. You'll be much happier in the long run. So that's what I'm doing here now. And there you have it, all freshened up and ready for another several months work. So I ended up going back and doing a little bit of work taking down this flat. I figured I better start doing that. If this is going to last decades, then I'm going to have to start bringing this bevel in too, otherwise that edge will just get thicker and thicker down there, and we don't want that. So I went back, worked this down a little bit. You notice you have some uneven spots there. Those will eventually work out over subsequent sharpenings, but this thing is so crazy sharp there now. I'm excited to do some cooking with it. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button. Hope you learned a little something. Leave me a comment down below. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We'll see you guys in the next video.